I'll be testing this Coleman 4-person instant tent not only against light rain but heavy rain as well. Before rain testing this instant tent, I checked all the seams and found that most of them had been taped, like this middle seam here between the black and brown fabric, the vertical seams, and the window and door seams. The only seam that was not taped was this seam between the black fabric and the bathtub flooring, which is inverted instead. Speaking of which, the bathtub flooring is about 4 inches high. Oh, and the rainfly seams are all taped as well. It rained very lightly when I was using this Coleman instant tent, but even so, because there's no vestibule, my flip-flops got wet in the light rain. Also, because the rainfly is so tiny and covers only the very top of the tent, I found that the rain will get into your tent through the windows if you leave them open. Here's one of the windows at the side of the instant tent. The part where I'm touching is where the rain is getting through the mesh. And here are the windows at the front of the tent, and here's where the rain is dripping. Anything below this will get wet even in light rain. The light rain stopped 15 minutes later and the tent was still dry inside. But I still wanted to test it more, so I used this water hose to simulate heavy rain. I concentrated the rainfall over here on these two sides of the tent. The other sides of the tent had less heavy rain. Again, because the rainfly is so tiny, look how soaked the windows are. This is one of the windows on the heavy rain side, and this is one of the windows under the less heavy rain. I stopped the heavy rain test 15 minutes in to just check in on the tent, and it was worse than I thought. There's quite a bit of leaking on the side of the tent that had heavy rain, especially through the corner. Also, a lot of leaking came from the seam connecting the bathtub flooring to the black tan fabric, and from the pocket as well. I also found that the black fabric was damp after just 15 minutes of heavy rain. The rainfly was so small that it couldn't even protect the black fabric at all, which got into contact with lots of water. The brown fabric near the top was still dry though. On the two sides of the tent with less heavy rain, the seam was also leaking, the black fabric was also damp, and the pocket was also dripping wet with water. I also checked the rainfly and found that the water had soaked through as well. Overall, because of how much water leaked into the tent, I would say that this Coleman 4-person instant tent is hardly water resistant. Most of the tent fabric and its seams were wet after just 15 minutes of heavy rain, and even the rainfly was wet. You can use a waterproofing spray on the tent fabric and sealant for the seams, and it should be able to withstand heavy rains decently. But if you don't want to do so, I think that this tent is great only in hot summer days, or if you're expecting only light rain. For a full review on this Coleman 4-person instant tent, check out this video right here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see ya in the next one.